Good evening. Welcome to the Living in Utah live question and answer session here Thursday evening. Where is everyone joining us? Question. Where's everybody joining us from tonight? I do get intrigued by that. I've had people join us from all over the world. So in different states, it's always great to get an idea of people in the United States, outside the United States, et cetera, et cetera. Utah this week, if you're living in, well, the whole state of Utah is actually in a heat wave. So regardless of where you're living. In the north, we're 98, 99 degrees. Southern Utah, 110. It's low humidity though, but little bit warm. Doesn't stop me going outside though, not at all. Was out in the yard this evening, but didn't really slow me down, not at all. So that's what's going on. Not a whole lot going on in the state of Utah right now. It's summer season. National parks are very busy. In my opinion, probably not the best time to go to the national park here in the middle of summer. I understand for some people, you got kids out of school and you have to go there, but it's the hottest time of year to go to a national park. So usually around April, May, September, October, perfect then. But have to do what you have to do. So take plenty of water with you and you will be good. I was just laughing before I clicked on. I was just surfing the internet and I read where so in England, the prime minister has stepped down from his office due to some scandals that are going on. So I was reading that this morning. Well, tonight I was reading that Mr. Putin said that the clown is gone. Quite fitting from Mr. Putin, calling Boris Johnson a clown. So I don't know if you could call Mr. Putin a clown. I mean, I could think of some better words than that, but anyways, we won't go there. Oh, we're from Maine. Wow. Oh, yes. I just noticed your name. Yeah, you sent me an email and with a video of your trip to Utah. So I believe that is your YouTube channel, MaineBumpkin, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. But anyways, if you're tuning in and you would like to see a great video, go to this person's channel and they film their journey in Utah. It's a great video. They came all the way from Maine to Utah. So yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit. So yeah, very great time. So yeah, but that's in the state of Utah. I also want to talk a little bit tonight. And this is something that, is on my mind for the future of home ownership. And it really bothers me what the future of home ownership is going to look like. I personally think that home ownership is going to decline, partly due to the fact that what you call, say, entry-level homes are being swooped up by investors. There's millions, or maybe not millions, but thousands of investment funds out there that are purchasing homes to rent and even building new. Last week, I went by a development that's been under construction for quite a while. It's a complete development of townhomes. As far as I can see, townhomes. There's so many, I can't even count them. And they're all for rent. All for rent. And that right there is a perfect entry-level home, especially for people in their 20s and 30s just starting out. But they're all for rent, not for sale. So I really wonder about home ownership in the United States as time goes by, the years go by, and maybe not it will affect in the next year or two, because I'm seeing more and more investment all around the country. Here in the state of Utah, also, there's quite a bit going on by big companies purchasing homes, turn them into rentals, and that's one of the things too that is keeping our market strong. There's a lot of investor money sitting on the sideline, and they're noticing interest rates going up, and they know that the competition now in Utah is not, prices aren't going above asking very often. So they're coming in and putting offers in to purchase homes and building their portfolio. So, but most people are familiar with Amazon and Mr. Jeff Bezos. He has a company called Arrived Homes. He is now purchasing homes. His company is. I'm sure he personally doesn't do it, but his company, Arrived Homes, is going around the country purchasing homes, turning them into rentals. It's actually an investment fund where people can invest money. I've heard the turnout has been so good that their website actually crashed. So a lot of investor money coming in. They've actually had to limit some of their offerings because of all the money that's flowing in and people who want to invest with them. But over the last 30 days, they acquired 59 properties in 17 markets for a total of $23 million. That's almost 2 homes per day in purchases. So another player in the business, and their goal is to find and acquire single-family rental properties. They offer shares of the properties to investors through its online platform with a minimum investment of $100. So they are looking at growing their fund, and I think they will do. Especially when it's backed by Amazon. So good memory. Our home in Maine goes on the market next week. Wow. Cool. So you're going to make the move to Utah, or did you decide on one of the other states that you traveled through? All right. Driving on I-15 just below Payson. There's a lot of new townhouses. They look like townhouses. Crazy to me. Where is the water to come from? Yeah, that's a good question in southern Utah. It's a real big question. Northern Utah, we've had some dry winters. There's no doubt. We do have water, but we are on water restrictions on your yard. A lot of people putting in desert landscaping, et cetera, trying to reduce water consumption in northern Utah. I'm not too sure what's going to happen in southern Utah. For years, they've wanted northern Utah to ship water to southern Utah. But northern Utah really doesn't have an abundance to share, in a sense. But I don't know. I've heard some crazy plans. There's actually a plan out there to take water from California coast there and pipe it all the way to Utah. I personally think it's a little bit far-fetched, but they're talking about it. What needs to happen, in my opinion, in northern Utah, we need to do way more than what we do on water conservation and trapping more water. We need more containment areas, just in my opinion. There is, like when I look at the Uinta Mountains, I mean, their snowfall, it can be 15 foot tall, 20 foot tall. We need to capture more and more of that water, and we need more reservoirs, and then possibly we would be able to supply other areas with water. But other things need to be done, I think, in northern Utah. The desert landscaping is a good start. One of my pet peeves has always been one of my pet peeves. Most you'll find in northern Utah, you start looking around at some of the new gas stations that are built, the new strip malls that are being built. Anything that was built over the last 20, longer than that, probably since the mid-90s at least. Most cities and counties require businesses to put in 10% landscaping. And it was not desert landscaping. They were talking grass, bushes, and trees. It all requires water. And that particular ruling, in my opinion, is far outdated, needs to change immediately. You drive by a new 7-Eleven or something, you see all this nice grass out there and trees. Well, it wasn't the business's decision, the 7-Eleven corporation, to do it. It was probably the city or the county when they went for approval and said, hey, you have to have your 10% landscaping. We need to change that to, for business, especially for businesses, desert landscaping only, straight off the board, desert landscaping. So I have a few other ideas too. I think that all city and government buildings should turn off the water tomorrow, let the grass go dormant, remove it all, and over time, put in desert landscaping. And we would reduce some of our water just with those buildings alone. So there's a lot that can be done. Payson, Central Utah, correct. Yeah, still torn between St. George and Cedar City. I'm not a big fan of extreme heat for months on end, but I despise snow. I have a shovel. 54 years in Maine killed my opinion on snow. Yeah, our snow in northern Utah is nowhere near what you will find in Maine. So not at all. Well, the exception of that is if you are living in any of our mountain areas like Park City, Heber City, Eden, Huntsville, Liberty, those areas, yes. The higher elevation will definitely, but along the Wasatch Front, no. Desert landscape is the way to go. So many in my area have large grass areas. Yes, I think as a state, we need to change. We have to change today. We're seeing a lot of it. I'm seeing my neighbors removing some of their grass. So I'm seeing people conserving water, but we need to do a lot more. So, and I've also got my doubts too. And I don't know, I'd have to do some research on this, but we have a lot of car washes going in. Car wash business is booming in Utah. I see new car washes everywhere we go. And I'm not too sure if they capture any of that water and reuse it. I'm not certain on that, but I hope they are. If not, then we need to be doing that. Can you put artificial grass in? Yep. If you're in a non-HOA, yeah. But if you're in an HOA, there is some controversy right now. There are people who have taken out their yards and put desert landscaping in, and the HOA has come back to them and said, no, you can't do that. So there needs, and in my opinion, it was on the news. It's been a couple individuals have been on the news for that exact same situation. And in my opinion, that was the wrong thing to do by the HOA. 100%. I know they're enforcing their rules, but they should have stood up and said, hey, great idea. We're going to have an emergency meeting about changing the ordinance that we have for HOA standards and let the people in the HOA vote. And hopefully they would vote to allow somebody, if they want to, but desert landscaping in instead of fining someone, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not too sure what's happening. I know the governor stepped in on some of those. So that would have been the thing to do, I think, was just to change your ordinance, pull a meeting, have a meeting. Shirley. Yeah, as far as, the fake turf, I don't see it a whole lot myself. Very, very rare. Very, very rare. What's the in thing right now that I'm seeing people do this year, and this is predominantly this year, is, and it looks really, really beautiful. So in the front of their house, up next to the house, I have a lot of desert landscaping, out front desert landscaping, and then I'll put a strip of grass down through the side, around the side of their house, and it'll continue in their backyard, and then they'll have desert landscaping. I've seen quite a few homes like that, and so I would say on their property, when you look at the whole square footage, it's probably 20-25% grass. So it has a huge reduction in the water usage, but looks very nice. Looks very, very nice. There is a sod field on Antelope Drive, Layton. It looks nice and green. Yes, yes. Yep, there's quite a few locations in Utah that grow sod. And a lot of cities need to change ordinance too. Good friend of mine. So he poured concrete on the side of his house, park his camper trailer. He's got a shed in the back corner. So he had the idea, well, maybe I'll concrete all the way back to the shed and kind of like extend it in case he needed to put anything along that. So he went to the city about it and they said, nope, a certain percent of your overall property has to be landscaping. And he argued that I'm taking out sprinklers, I'm taking out grass, I'm going to save some water. Nope, nope, nope. Would not allow it. Would not allow it. So I know he's fought it again this year. I haven't seen him in a little while. I'll have to see how it went. We use artificial turf in California. It went down properly. It can look very nice. We get tons of compliments. Yes, yes, can look great. Can look great. And I think for majority of homeowners in Utah, we could easily go like on the front and side of your home, desert landscape and some turf. In the backyard, some grass and maybe some desert landscaping. And so that for the kids, they can play on the grass and your pets would be a definite improvement to what we have now. So. Yes, 55 and over communities in southern Utah. Yeah, throughout the whole state of Utah. Quite a few over 55 communities throughout the whole state. Yep, 100%. We just hired an excavator. He says that about 22,000 moved to Utah last year. True. We actually had more than that moved to the state of Utah last year. The growth has not slowed down. I think the growth, I think nationally, the migration will slow down. And one of the main reasons, there's going to be a couple reasons. I think we're going into a recession. So we've enjoyed the last 5, 6, 7 years of being able to change jobs and get a better job, or maybe a job in a location that you wanted to move to. And I think as a recession comes along, those opportunities are going to dwindle in a lot of career fields. So I think the migration pattern is going to slow down a little. And I also wonder too, somewhere around, I think it's 70 to 80% of the mortgages out there are around that 3% range. A lot of people refinanced. So for some people, they will have a tough decision to make, to move, sell their home and give up that 3% loan that they have and take a new loan at 6%, 7%, 8%, wherever we go. Maybe we go back down to 4%. I think it'll slow some people down. I really do. And I think it's also going to slow down I think it's going to slow down long term. It's going to slow down the housing market, especially for people who are maybe age 50 and above. Over the years, I've noticed a lot of people will, over the age of 50, sometimes they'll purchase a home for, say, retirement, whether it's here or in another state or where they would like to go to. Maybe downsize their home, maybe go to like a one-level home, a rambler type of home instead of a multi-level. But I think as we go along, people with the 3% loan will have a tough decision to make. Do we stay in our current home at 3% with a very affordable mortgage? Or do we sell, have a higher mortgage, But at the same time, we're also looking at maybe at 60 years old, we want to call it quits, or 65, or I think it's going to be a tough decision. It'll be a tough decision. And I personally think when it comes down to people have to make the decision, will I retire or shall I buy that home and work longer to pay down some of that mortgage? And I think staying in the current home and doing the retirement option will come in number one on the list. So that's just my thinking into the future. We'll see how it goes. We have artificial grass in my front and yard. We get a lot of compliments. Yes, it does look good. You find very little in the state of Utah, very little artificial grass. But we have to change. We have to change. Now, when I say very little artificial grass, that'd be in northern Utah. In southern Utah, you do see more, and you do see more desert landscaping in southern Utah. That has been the normal. They have been in a water crisis in southern Utah for many, many years. So, but northern Utah has to change. We have to change. So the growth has just been, and I don't think we can bring it all down to the amount of snowfall we get during the winter months. I think a lot of it's to do with the growth in the state. We just use more water. And we have car washes on just about every corner. We probably have as many car washes as we do coffee shops, maybe. I'm not too sure, but it uses a lot of water. So, okay. Any more questions this evening I can answer for you? It's been a great evening. I love this time of year. Still daylight outside. I am not a fan of it getting dark at 5:30, 6 p.m. I love the daylight. Love, love, love the daylight. So I really enjoy this time of year. Okay. I'm going to call it an evening then, and I'll be back again next week. We'll see one more here. Just in the past 2 months, I've noticed more homes sitting on the Southwest Utah market and price drops. So, seems things are cooling off, but I've only been looking for 4 months. You are correct. That is through the whole state of Utah is what you're seeing. We are seeing, so I'll give you an idea. It was not too long ago, and I remember sitting in this exact same chair saying our inventory was at about 2,700 homes, 2,800. It was below 3,000 homes. We are seeing 8,000 homes now. That's how much the inventory has expanded. And there's a lot of reasons for it. Higher interest rates, 20 to 25% of the buyers out there have had to drop out because they've been priced out. Slowing economy, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, we are cooling off. Price drops is a difficult number to know. I wouldn't say overall we have, well, we do have some price drops, but part of we've spent the last 2 years, and this is just the last 2 years, and this is going on around the country. You go to list somebody's house and you give them all the information. Okay, every home in this neighborhood sold for $600,000. The first thing they say is, we want to sell it for $650, $675, $700. They want to set a new record because a lot of sellers have seen the pricing going up, and they're like, okay, well, I could get another 50 out of mine, another 75. And we've had that. We've set new records, neighborhood after neighborhood after neighborhood. And there's a lot of sellers out there that are still have that mindset that you could show them all the comps of what just sold over the last 3 to 6 months. And if everything was around the $600,000 price range, they're still going to be up. I need $650. So a lot of those homes are having to adjust their price to what the market really is right now. We are not having this above asking bidding war that we had over the last couple of years. We just don't see it. You still see it on a few homes, and it depends on what the home was priced at. But in general, this 50,000, 100,000, I've seen million, $2 million homes go $200,000, $300,000 above asking. Crazy. But yeah, we are, if you want to call it cooling off, that's the stage we are at the current moment. We are, if the home has been priced above what it should be, they're having to do a price reduction. That's where we're at today. Where we're at next month, the following month, hard to predict, but the Federal Reserve will be meeting this month, and there is anticipation of a rate hike. They're already talking about it. I like to look on the positive. There is a little bit of positive when you look at the inflation, just a wee little bit of positive. Maybe not enough to change the Federal Reserve mind, but this month, President Biden is traveling to Saudi Arabia to meet. I call him Mr. MBS. I can't pronounce his name. It's Mohammed bin something. I just call him MBS because I'll butcher his name. And in my opinion, he's a bad dude. He has been reported that he's linked to the killing of the journalist. So he's not a good guy in my books. I've heard that Mr. Biden has been trying to contact him. He will not return phone calls. Not too sure how true that is, but President Biden is traveling to Saudi Arabia to talk to him personally about increasing oil production to bring the numbers down, bring the overall price of fuel down. So if an agreement can be struck, which is an if, and just a little bit of hope, we might see some relief at the pumps. We are seeing a little bit of relief with like wood. I don't think, as far as I know, most of the food commodities are not seeing any kind of reduction. But we are seeing some other sectors, metals are seeing a reduction. So I am seeing a little bit of reduction. So we might be possibly coming to a peak on the inflation. The other thing we have coming up just a few more months after this will be midterm elections. Could change the stock market. Maybe there'll be some confidence depending on who gets elected. There might be some confidence in the stock market. Stock market might rebound a little bit, maybe the economy. So there are some things on the horizon. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how Mr. Biden's meeting goes with Saudi Arabia. And the reason I bring some of that up, the interest rate increases have been to combat inflation. So they're trying to get inflation under control. They are expected to rise in July, but we may have some news, maybe in July, maybe a little bit of relief at the gas pump, maybe in August, maybe that starts a chain reaction, maybe a little bit better. If you do look at oil is actually down. A barrel of oil is floating around the $100 range. So it has come down a little bit. It's still very, very high. But if we do put more oil on the market, we would see a drop also. So maybe it won't. Maybe it will. Central Utah. Oh, price to go down Central Utah. Yeah, the whole state. Well, maybe my timing is good. Thanks. Have a great night. Yeah, I mean, I think we have tapped out. We have tapped out on home price increases, no doubt, around the country. So what's a struggle right now in the market are the new home builders. They have built. So they are stuck with a home costing X amount of dollars. Because during the build process, they bought the land at a high price. They paid a high price for all the materials, high price for labor. Now they've got the home done, and they have to sell it for a high price. Some people think that they can just lower the price, take $100,000 off. It's hard. They've paid contractors, they've paid suppliers, they've purchased the land in the past. All this was done over the last maybe 6 months, and now they are stuck. That's the only way to put it. They are, some new home builders are stuck. As they go forward, a little bit more wiggle room, because now if they can get a break on some of their supplies, they can probably try to negotiate more with some of the subcontractors on maybe a lower price to do some of the labor, maybe a little lower price on developing land, etc. But for the time being, new construction is a difficult segment, very difficult in the state of Utah. Actually, around the country, they're all battling the same thing. Okay, I'm going to call it night. Thank you. Everybody have a great weekend.